Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2020 AGM for the British Pest Control Association. My name is Scott Johnstone. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager at Bpca, and I'll kind of be playing the technician role today and passing you between our various people on the top table. If you haven't been on Zoom before, I'm just going to give you a little tour of what you need to know for today. So we can't see you or hear you in the office. So please don't try and talk to us. Please don't try and wave at us. But if you do need to contact us, or if you're having any technical problems, you can use the little chat button at the bottom of your screen, and we'll be able to see that and try and troubleshoot any issues that you're having. We've also got a little Q&A button at the bottom of the screen as well. So there will be opportunities throughout the morning for us to chat through any of the questions that you have, and we'll point those to whoever's best to deal with them at the appropriate time. But feel free to use that Q&A section anytime you want during the whole of the AGM this morning. I think that's it from me. So I'm going to ask Phil to join us now, and he will take us from here. So good morning.
Thank you, Scott. Good morning, everybody. So welcome all to the 78th AGM of the Bpca, and thanks to Scott for guiding everyone on how the webinar will run. Something we've all had to become familiar with over these last few months. So thank you for attending. In the absence of our usual top table, if I could just introduce who's here from the Bpca Executive Board and the staff team today. So first of all, you've got myself, Philip Halpin, President Bpca. We've got Scott Johnston, who's already introduced himself, our Marketing and Communications Manager. Lorraine Norton is with us, our Operations Manager. And we've got Mark Williams, our Honorary Treasurer, Martin Cobbold, Vice President, and of course, Ian Andrew, our Chief Executive Officer. So good morning to everybody. So this is a new format for us all, so things are going to work out slightly differently today. We're going to start by opening the AGM, and at the same time, we're now opening the voting system for today's resolutions. Those of you that are attending who are full members and eligible to vote will have received voting instructions from UK Engage, who are securely managing the voting system on behalf of Bpca. So please go to your login page now and enter the security code that has been sent to you, which is unique to you. We'll just check that the chat to ensure we're not seeing any problems here. Give you a few minutes to log in. If you're seeing the message that the election is closed, then refresh your screen as voting has been opened. You'll be free to vote in your own time during the meeting, but you must have successfully submitted the votes before we close the system for the count. I've just lost my notes there. You can only vote using the UK Engage platform. There is no option to submit votes using Zoom. However, please use the Q&A function on Zoom throughout proceedings to submit any questions you may have. We'll do our very best to handle them all that relate to today's resolutions you're voting on before we close the voting system. The outcome of all resolutions will be announced before we close the AGM, and as soon as UK Engage are able to let us have the results. So, to continue with the formal business of today, and in accordance with the Association's articles and regulations, may I confirm that the Executive Board has made the following appointments, all of whom will hold office from the conclusion of the AGM. So firstly, we have myself, Philip Halpin from Countrywide Environmental as President. Secondly, we have two Vice Presidents, Mr. Mike Ayres from Precision Pest Management and Mr. Chris Cagenard from Pest Solutions. Our Honorary Treasurer is Mr. Mark Williams from Ecolab. And in addition, the Chairman of the Standing Committees of the Board appointed are, from the Servicing Committee, Mr. Martin Rose King from Bounty Pest Control. From the Manufacturers and Distributors Committee, Mr. Jim Kirk from Rentokil. Our Professional Standards Committee is Mr. Malcolm Stowell from Safeguard Pest Control and Environmental Services. And our Outreach and Communications Committee is chaired by Mrs. Julia
Pittman from Beaver House Services. Now, to the usual agenda items for our AGM. So firstly, we have item number 1 on the agenda, which is our apologies for absence. I believe we've received a number of apologies, and they will be included in the minutes of this meeting. And now to the remainder of the resolutions on which you are required to vote. It may be helpful to do this as we go along. So firstly, we need to vote to adopt the minutes from the previous AGM. All will have had an opportunity to review the minutes of the previous AGM, which was held on the 12th of June 2019. No amendments or comments were received prior to this meeting. Please vote to confirm the minutes of the 77th Annual General Meeting of the British Pest Control Association held on the 12th of June 2019. If you could please vote now. Thank you. Moving on, item number 3, which is our annual report. We've prepared a short presentation to oversee this item, which was pre-recorded by myself.
Thank you for joining us today from your homes, offices, or vans. Some of you may have read my President's Report in the March issue of Bpca magazine. However, for the purpose of the AGM, I've got a 5-minute recap for you. While it's less than ideal to be reviewing 2019 9 months after the fact, I'm sure you'll all understand why this meeting has been so delayed. Although it may feel like a lifetime ago, please try and cast your minds back to 2019. Here's a few reminders. We had an election, climate change protests, earthquakes and floods. The UK continued to prepare to leave the EU. Prince Philip crashed his car. A dam collapsed in Derbyshire. The Amazon rainforest was on fire. And Greggs released a vegan sausage roll. If you'd have heard of COVID-19, back then, it was just a thing happening somewhere far away. Overall, it was a pretty quiet year in comparison to 2020. Now, let's turn our attention to pest control and the 2019 association year. 2019 was the birth year of Bpca Registered, our very own combined career pathway and CPD scheme. Many of us will now be used to carrying our green or blue pest control cards, but the scheme is only a year and a half old. This is the first time, as an association, we have recognised individuals in pest management. Every pest management company is built by talented and passionate individuals. Being able to recognise their achievements, qualifications, and contributions to the sector was a vital step for us to be able to better represent you as a trade association. So, thank you to the early adopters who got on board and back in the scheme back in January 2019. Today, the scheme has well over 2,000 technicians, which I'm sure you'll agree is impressive in such a short time. 2019 was the British Pest Control Association 76th year, and it was a Pestex year. March saw the successful delivery of the largest pest management event in the UK, delivered 100% in-house by the Bpca team. What still stands out in my mind is something that's hard to put into words. There was a buzz in the air and an atmosphere you don't usually get at a trade show. 96% of people noted the great atmosphere in their feedback. Much of this carried over into PPC Live in 2020, which took place just before the country was locked down. Thank you again to the exhibitors, speakers, and attendees of both shows that helped create such a buzz. Pestex 2021 is already well over 50% sold out, which can only be a testament to the incredible reception the show had. Maybe the most memorable moments of 2019 were the great birds and baits debacles. I'm sure you'll all remember where you were when you first heard that all wildlife general licenses for bird control were going to disappear almost overnight. Many of you will have heard the change from Bpca first. The association's commitment to keeping you in the loop had never been so important, except maybe earlier this year. But I'll save those reflections for next year. While our updates were vital, our open letter and lobbying work were where Bpca really showed its value to the whole sector. Our efforts were directly included in DEFRA's report, and the Bpca team has been to many a meeting with decision makers to keep general licenses worldwide. This work is still ongoing, and 2020 has been fairly disastrous in terms of gold licenses in England, it's fair to say. However, we continue to work on your behalf to help you protect public health. Birds aside, Bpca was also instrumental in keeping rodenticide labels workable. When the crew guidance was incorporated into label conditions, it created headaches for many of us. But by listening to your concerns and convening a round-table event, Bpca managed to get the guidance document updated to remove the grey areas that you were being forced to work in. I could also mention the Fight to Keep glue boards in the Scottish Parliament, or our 2 Association Excellence Awards, or our new special interest groups, but my speech is already getting long. 2019 was almost like a practice year for 2020. When you think about it, we sharpened our lobbying, we listened to our members, we made our voice heard and highlighted the professionalism of members. All of these skills proved to be critical in achieving key worker status during lockdown. But again, those reflections will have to wait for the next AGM and the annual report. 2019 was a fairly tough year for pest management. 2020 is turning out to be even more challenging. No matter what the world throws at our sector though, I hope you can trust your trade association to be on your side. Our aims are quite simple. On the one hand, we want to be your voice in the sector and beyond. Together, we have a big, strong voice that legislators have to listen to. On the other hand, we're here to drive the professionalism of the sector. We set criteria and give you the tools to show the world what good pest management looks like. Let's face it, there has never been a more critical time to promote your professionalism. The lessons we've learned from 2019 and the first part of 2020 will certainly keep us busy for years to come. We know we need to be more accessible, both digitally and in person. We need to keep engaging with associated sectors, your potential clients, governments, and legislators. We know that as members, you need to feel more involved in the direction of the association and the decisions we make on your behalf. We are all Bpca after all. Finally, I want to say a huge thank you to you, every single member company. Your engagement and subscriptions mean we can continue to support the sector, which is all the more important in these trying times. Please, keep attending our events, both online and in person. Keep reading our magazine and emails, and keep offering your support and volunteering your time where you can. So on behalf of the Executive Board, we wish you the best for the remainder of 2020. And please remember, your association is here to support you, both if and when you need us. Thank you.
So there we go. So moving back to the order of the business, so the annual report, item number 3, can we please vote to receive the annual report of the Executive Board, the association year of 2019. Thank you all. So moving on to item number 4, and accounts. Mark Williams, our treasurer, has prepared a presentation in relation to the association's finances. So over to Mark.
Good morning, everyone. I wrote the Treasurer's report back in January, having just come off the back of an absolutely fantastic year for this association. And I ended that report by wishing everyone every success in 2020, thinking it would be just another year. Unfortunately, as we've heard from Phil, 2020 isn't just another year. And so this morning, I'm going to split my thoughts into two parts. For the first, I'll reflect on 2019, and for the second, 2020, and some of the board's thinking about this year. This is now my 5th AGM report as Honorary Treasurer, and as I look back over the years, it's plain to see that the association has changed considerably in that time. With the continued hard work and dedication of both its executive board and its staff team, a stronger, more resilient organisation has flourished, allowing it to take a preeminent position in the public health pest management debate. It has also meant that the association is in a much better position to support its membership throughout times of crisis. But more about that in the second half of my report. In his report, Phil covered the major successes and challenges of the year: Bpca registered, AVKs, bird licensing, and of course Pestex. When I came to the association, our finances were often sorely tested by the demands placed on it by its board. In Pestex years, there was some profit, and in non-Pestex years, there were some losses. The numbers largely netted out to a small operating profit that could then be used and reinvested into some strategic investments. Over that same period, the demands placed upon the association's resources have increased significantly. Much more is now demanded by its board and from its membership to keep this association as the leading voice for the professional pest controller. For the past 15 years, Pestex have been run by an events company under a profit-sharing arrangement. But for 2019, the association ran the event itself. I mentioned that the association had grown stronger over the past 6 years, and that is also true of the staff team, and they had the belief that they could do the show better, much better. To take control meant that more of the profits could be secured and reinvested into the association's key strategic initiatives and into its reserves policy. Lobbying events like the one the Bpca recently hosted at Holyrood were a great opportunity for the association to place itself at the forefront of the Scottish debate on glue boarding. It moreover gave us a priceless opportunity, well, not quite a priceless one, but a unique opportunity to meet and showcase Bpca to a Minister for Scotland. Events like that don't come cheap, but they are absolutely vital to protecting our members' interests. I said in my Treasurer's report that Pestex was a phenomenal success. We saw visitor numbers up 26% on 2017, sponsorship was up 20%, and exhibitor sales up by 15%. Whilst 2019 was a great success overall and reflected in the continued growth in our membership numbers, this was tempered by our continued concern about revenues derived from training, which account for 20% of our overall income and which continued to decline year on year. The association is mindful that its only real source of income is from you, its membership. There being no sugar daddy owner like the Premier League football clubs have for us. Training is a highly competitive market in which the Bpca must continue to innovate and invest if we are to earn your trust and your monies. If we don't have it quite right, then please tell us so. But that was 2019, and so now some words about this year. When coronavirus first struck, I don't think any of us really understood its full ramifications to both life and to business. Indeed, we very much speculate about what the new normal will look like and just how business will be impacted. Already major concerns like British Airways, Debenhams, and Marks & Spencer's have all talked about major structural changes and redundancies affecting their business. It was late in March that we announced a number of financial support initiatives to help our members navigate through what was looking like becoming an increasingly difficult trading period. We offered to defer payments of subscriptions to help with cash flow when members' own incomes will be reduced. So for members on direct debit plans, we cancelled the April billing and rephased to late December. We offered to refund 75% of any subscriptions that have been paid annually in advance, in exchange for a signed DD mandate. We offered to refund 25% of any subscriptions paid annually in advance to be rebilled later in the year if the DD option wasn't taken up. And we effectively reined in our credit control activities. Those are all the right things to do. This did, however, effectively mean that the association itself faced receiving no income for 6 months. It was certainly prudent for us to take advantage of the government's furlough scheme. The association employs 18 staff team members, and we needed to ensure that they remained employed and paid, because that was the right thing to do by them too. We were able to do so because we had a good reserves policy. I mentioned that earlier. That policy is subject to annual ratification by the board. Its primary purpose is to see that the association continues to be able to operate normally, to continue to support its membership, even if faced with a disastrous situation. Many of you will have a DRP, a disaster recovery plan for your business. It's likely to be most concerned with the loss of your building through fire or flood. When we wrote our DRP, we never envisaged a global pandemic and the impacts that would have on normal business operations. Many businesses today and continue today to face challenging times. Indeed, some businesses had to temporarily close their doors and cease to trade, whilst others severely restricted their operations, and just a few reported good or even increased trading. It's anecdotally reported that the food retailers have enjoyed some good numbers from their alcohol and toilet roll sales. We are hearing similar mixed stories from our membership too. Some of you are experiencing tough times, whilst others not so tough. And so we'd ask that if any member is struggling and in genuine hardship, then please reach out to us and we'll see what we can do to help. The outlook for 2021 remains uncertain. I do remain worried about the revenues from training, and Karen Dawes has done some sterling work creating some excellent online training packages, and early indications are that the sector itself is fairly optimistic about the future. Phil has already told you that we've secured 50% of stand sales for Pest already. That's Pest 2021, which is great news. But obviously, it'll only take a second bad wave of COVID to jeopardise that event, and then our finances will be sorely tested. But as I said previously, we have a good reserves policy, sound finances, and a capable leadership team, and I believe the association will continue to be there to help support you through these uncertain times. I think that's me done. Back to you, Phil.
That's great. So thank you, Mark, for your Treasurer's report. So back to the voting, please. Please vote to receive the audited statement of accounts of the association for the year 2019. Right, we're now moving on to take items number 6 and 7 on your agenda next, so that we can follow the same order on your voting page. Item 6, appointment of auditors. Please vote to reappoint as auditors of the association, DEKM Limited, the current auditors of 8 Vernon Terrace, Derby, DE11FR, from the conclusion of the AGM until the conclusion of the next AGM at which the accounts are laid before the association. Item number 7 on your agenda, remuneration of auditors. Please vote to authorise the Executive Board to set the remuneration of the auditors. And finally, back to the big agenda item, election of Executive Board members. So, as notified to full members on the 17th of August, this year, the number of nominations for the Executive Board exceeds the number of vacancies. The 7 nominations received that comply with the regulations set out in the nomination form were as follows. Jason Chollerton from CSS Pest Services, Simon Goodwin from Goodwin Pest Management, Mick Kilburn from Elite Pest Management, Luke Summers from Summers Environmental Services, Michael Taylor from Contigo, Paul Westgate from Veritas Pest Consultancy, and Mark White from Dealey Environmental. Please vote to elect up to 5 of the above members to the Executive Board. I know we have many of them, if not all of them, here today. So thanks again for your attendance. So good luck, everyone on the list, and all the best for the 5 that get nominated. Okay, let's take a pause now for the team here to review any Q&As submitted. After taking those relevant to the above resolutions, we'll wrap up the voting so that we can get the results to you as quickly as possible. We're as keen as you are to know who your new executive board members are. I should add that all proxy votes submitted prior to 9 AM on Tuesday, the 25th of August, have been taken into account and will be included in the outcomes announced today. I'd like to extend a thank you to those members who used their voice that way if they were unable to attend the meeting today. Okay, I've just been advised that there aren't any Q&As, so we're just going to pause for a few minutes just for the voting system to give everyone time to vote. Hello again, everybody. Okay, so we've not received any specific Q&As relating to the resolutions. So the voting system is now officially closed. The votes will now be independently scrutinised by UK Engage, and we'll have the results with you as soon as possible. But whilst we're waiting for that to happen, and it will take sort of 10-15 minutes for them to collate all of that information, we've got a couple of other matters to cover. So firstly, I'm delighted to announce that in their last board meeting, the executive board awarded life membership of the association to the following individuals for their services to the association and or the wider industry. And the names on the list will not come as a surprise to most of you, and I think probably they are well known to all. So I will announce them in order, and then hopefully we're going to hear some words from each of them individually. So we have Francis McKim, Helen Ribby, and Jonathan Wade. They need no introduction, as I say. So Francis and Helen, well known for their work with Pest magazine and previous services to the association. And Jonathan Wade, of course, for his career with Pelgar, which has spanned many, many years. So if I could pass over to Francis, please, and we can hopefully hear some words from her.
I'm here. Can everybody?
Yes, we can hear you, Francis.
Okay. Sorry, welcome everybody. I'd just like to say it came as a bit of a surprise to be asked to be a life member of Bpca, because in many respects I feel as if it's been part of my life for a long time already. I've actually been involved with the industry for over 40 years on and off, which is an awfully long time. That included being president, for those that don't have very long memories, in 1982-83. But so it's been a long journey, but it's been good fun. And I think most recently I'm known with my co-publisher Helen Ribby, as we started Pest magazine over 10-11 years ago. Gosh, don't the years fly by, and haven't we had fun? Anyway, we've now sold the magazine, so we're now, I can assure you, we're not sitting at home twiddling our thumbs. You'll still see us around, but doing other things. But I'd just like to have been asked to show you my life membership certificate. And just to conclude, I think the thing I'd like to say most is that it's been great fun involved with the industry. I've made a lot of friends over the years, both in the UK and internationally. And many of them I'm still keeping up with, and we'll look forward to seeing again when we can all get back to doing things as normal, back to life as normal, whatever that might be in the future. So thank you very much, Bpca. Over and out.
Thank you very much, Francis. Great to hear from you, and thank you for accepting the award. Now if we can pass over to Helen Ribby, please. Helen, over to you if you're online.
Good morning, Helen.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can. Thanks.
That's excellent. You never know with this technology, do you? Well, like Francis, when this letter arrived from Phil, you could have knocked me over with a feather, frankly. I really was genuinely surprised to be nominated for this lifetime membership. I've always been very proud of what Francis and I have done with our little baby, Pest magazine. But, you know, to have my part of it recognised by the whole industry, it's really touching. So thank you, Bpca, for that. A little anecdote for you. Francis and I have had a virtual office for, I should think, well over 20 years. Nothing new for us to be virtual. But when somebody made a bit of a complimentary comment maybe about an article, and yes, it did happen occasionally, we had a bit of a running joke in the office, and it was all to do with heads and doors. And I have to say, the day the letter arrived, my head was definitely in danger of getting stuck in that door. So thank you. My second thought, when the letter had arrived, was, oh gosh, I hope they've asked Francis too. As luck would have it, the day the letter arrived, I needed to speak with Francis, and that's not something we now do every day, unlike previously. So I broached the subject, and oh dear, no, she hadn't had a letter. Of course, as we can tell, it was just the vagaries of the postal service that had caused that problem. We've been asked to keep this brief, so I thought I'd finish, you know, in what's a traditional way, I guess, on these sorts of things, by thanking a few folk. I thought about it and I thought there were just so many. Loads of people at Bpca and at MPTA, both associations, all the advertisers we met and who spent money with us over the years, our technical advisory board, the TABs, pest professionals just up and down the country, who we talked to. Some of them I never met, but we did articles with, technical experts around the world. So difficult. So just, I'd like to restrict my individual thanks, if you like, not just to Bpca for this award, but to the one person who got me into this mess in the first place. Francis, thank you for introducing me to the joys of pests and all of those involved in their management. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Helen. Wonderful. And thanks for your acceptance of the Lifetime Award as well. Great to hear from you as well. And now over to Jonathan Wade, please. Jonathan, if you can start your video, it'd be great to hear from you as well.
Well, guys, I have to say thank you very much. And like the other nominees, I was surprised and delighted and extremely honoured to receive this nomination. And words from a Yorkshireman that are not to be taken lightly. So I'm very grateful to be offered this life membership for the Bpca. I would also like to offer congratulations to the other nominees. And I know they've spent a huge amount of time and effort over the years to get where they've got today, and their contributions to the industry are not to be taken lightly. Now, as pest controllers, we're all in this business, not for the present, but for the future of pest control, and the changes in pest control best practice, national and international legislation are rarely managed overnight, and we all adopt and adapt accordingly over the years. And I think we've seen some of that today in this meeting, that we change, we adapt, we modify our behaviour so we can keep in touch and communicate well. But only yesterday, talking of adoption and adaptation, I saw a huge rat bumble across the road towards Hazelmere Station, and so I popped out of my car to see what I could find. And actually, when I saw how big it was totally huge. I just jumped back in my car and locked the doors, and that simply was me adopting and adapting to that situation very quickly in this case. But as a final word of thanks and appreciation for this honorary membership and respect of being in this business for the long haul, like Francis, I've been 45 years through ICI, Zeneca, Pelgar, and now in retirement. I have the greatest satisfaction actually in handing over this mantle to my son Alex, who through his diligence and enthusiasm has learned more from you guys in a few short years than I ever did from the rest of my professional group in a lifetime. So I think that just is tribute to the fact that the industry has upped its game. It's gone from the days of simple clubbing rats, and I seem to have left there. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you, Jonathan.
Okay, I'm told I've left. Perhaps Elvis has left the building. And so finally, again, my thanks to everybody at BPCA. I'm truly touched by this this tribute, and I shall do my best to uphold the continued high quality and diligence of the BPCA in the years to come. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Jonathan. And it's great to hear from all of the nominees there and their kind words. And clearly receiving the award really has really been great for them. And a bit of background, really, these awards aren't sort of nominated sort of haphazardly. I mean, there's always a case study, if you like, put forward to the board, and the board gets to look at the track record behind the nominees, and then the board votes to accept the life members. So all of these guys have been through the process, and it really is great news when obviously they've accepted, and to hear those kind words as well. So thank you again to Francis, Helen and Jonathan. So the AGM always sees some change to the board. This year, Graham Turner steps down from his position, and I'd like to thank him for his input over the last year and a bit. And we also see Martin Cobbold step down from the board and his position of Vice President. Martin has been a board member since 2013, so many years on the board. Personally, for me, I've really enjoyed working with Martin as part of the officers team as well. And many of you will know him from his work with regional forums and his rather sort of unique presentation style, which always keeps everyone engaged. I can assure you he's just the same in board meetings as well. So he really sorely will be missed. So a big thank you to both of you guys, but particularly to you, Martin, for those many years that you've been part of the executive board. And in fact, if it's possible, could I pass over to Martin and see if we can have a few words from Martin? Great. Over to you, Martin.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, it's been 7 years. Crazy. 7 years. Where has it all gone? I've loved being part of the executive board of the BPCA. It's been absolutely amazing. Initially, it was as chair of the fumigation committee, and then latterly as the vice president. It really is a cracking organisation, and it is the professional body representing the pest control industry. We've got those key ingredients of professionalism in the BPCA, and they really are embodied throughout the organisation. It's passion, integrity, expertise, and support. And I'd like to just focus on that last one, support, a little bit. There's sometimes accusations from outside of membership that BPCA is only for the big boys, which to me has never made any sense whatsoever. When I first joined the board, I had one employee, and that one employee was sort of only half employed, if you know what I mean. And then through the support of the BPCA team, I showed my willingness to grow the business, and they've supported me every step of the way. And I now have 20 employees. And in that time, in the 7 years, the BPCA itself has almost doubled in size. It's like a very hungry caterpillar. It's growing and growing, and we really have a grand future ahead of us. As Jonathan mentioned earlier, the industry has really upped its game, and the driving force behind that has been the BPCA, without any doubt in my mind. Throughout my time, I've had Simon Forrester as the CEO, and I would like to extend my thanks virtually to him, although he's not here. I feel he deserves a shout out, and especially Ian Andrew, who really is a role model for anybody in the industry. Spending any time with him, you learn so much. And I want to just extend some special thanks to the beating heart of the BPCA. Two people in particular, as Lorraine Norton and Kevin Higgins, who have been mentors, role models and friends throughout my time at the BPCA on the board. And they really do embody those components of professionalism that I mentioned earlier: passion, integrity, expertise and support. They've got them in spades. I'm really very proud of the BPCA, especially with the support that they showed earlier this year for all of the members. And I don't think we'll ever forget the fear and the uncertainty that came at the beginning of the outbreak. And they did such a good job of getting ahead of the events as they unfolded, getting key worker status for workers in the industry. And then after that, not just leaving it there, they didn't call it job done. They then started creating processes to follow to make sure they kept all of the employees of the 500 plus member companies safe while they worked. It's just a massive amount of thanks and gratitude should go to the BPCA for their work during that time. I know that under Ian's stewardship, the very hungry caterpillar is turning into a beautiful butterfly. We've got the most incredible future ahead of us, and I've got really high hopes for the pest control industry and for the BPCA itself. I've never been more proud of the BPCA. I've never been more proud to be a member, and I've never been more proud to protect. So thank you very much, everybody. Cheers.
Great. Thank you so much, Martin. Really, really nice words, and great to hear, you know, such positive engagement, you know, over these years, and for your input. So, you know, again, a big thank you from the board, and on behalf of the members, Martin. And I know there's a little something in the post from BPCA for you to enjoy. Right, so I'm just going to check with the team whether there are any other Q&As that we need to pick up right now. Okay, if we've missed any of them at all, then we'll definitely make sure they're answered and published after the AGM. So, okay, I believe the votes are in and have been independently scrutinised by UK Engage. I'm pleased to report that all resolutions were passed. Lorraine's just coming over to me now. Thank you. Right, so yes, I'm pleased to report that all resolutions were passed. The final counts will be included in the minutes of the meeting, and I'm delighted to welcome the following to the Executive Board. Drum roll. So first of all, not in any particular order, we have Mick Kilburn, Jason Chollerton, Michael Taylor, Paul Westgate, and last but not least, and I know Martin Cobbold will be pleased, Mark White. So congratulations to you all. I'm delighted to welcome you to the Executive Board. So congratulations to those people, and to those that didn't make it. Please do not be discouraged. I spoke to everybody on a separate call with Ian a few days ago, and I really would like to encourage those that didn't get into the board to consider maybe offering their support to the association, maybe with working with one of the committees, for example. But thank you all for taking the time and for putting your names forward. There's always next time as well, and I'm sure the staff team would be delighted to have you involved in all those other ways. So that's it from us. Thank you again. I'll now close the AGM at 9:49 and wish you all good health and stay safe. Thank you.